Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Jeff Gerstmann Hall of Fame. I've been thinking about the Hall a lot lately and thinking about, what are the next games? Maybe we need tiers to the Hall because sometimes it's as you do more of them, the games are fewer and further between. But this one came to me in a flash. And I've been playing through it lately, over the past week or so. And I was like, oh, well, this is a no-brainer. This one, oh my gosh. And I think me missing it speaks to the way we think about games that are like big. This is something I think I talk about at least a little bit every time Game of the Year season comes around. And I think that in general, people have opened their minds a little bit, myself included, to accept more variety in games they would consider for an overall Game of the Year type award. I think we got tunnel vision for the first, let's call it 20 years of modern games journalism. Certainly the early magazine days and then on, where I think they just, there were games that felt big, and those are the games that felt like contenders. And you had other games that felt like they fell into genres, and they were it's where the term, fans of the genre, it's those the sorts of games. And what I mean by that is fighting games, driving games, sports games. Those would often be amazing games in the year of their release. There have been, hey, talk to me about some amazing fighting games that have come out over the years. But often those games, they're arcadey, or they don't feel like they have the weight to them that a story-driven single-player experience has. I think this is something that Sony kind of, this mentality, I think, is something that like Sony leverages for the entirety of their, a lot of their first party output, what we think of as the classic modern PlayStation first party game. It is that direct streaming TV show. It's like, oh, there's really some pathos here. You need to check, like that type of weight. And don't get me wrong. I think that games are very capable of that type of weight or emotional fortitude, or however you want to label it. And I've been moved by a lot of games over the years, storylines in games, character moments in games, and that's certainly been the case. But a lot of games get left out in the cold. And it is some of these genre games, and it's, like I said, fighting and driving are the first two that really come to mind. I think a lot of role-playing games for a long time, you had Final Fantasy VII, which, so in a year when a numbered Final Fantasy game comes out, miraculously, it would rise to the top of some of those discussions. But, you would have great role-playing games coming out throughout the PlayStation 1 and 2 generations for certain. In the wake of Final Fantasy VII, so many games came to the States that, would probably at least be worth the conversation. But a lot of those games would get relegated to just like, let the RPG people play those, and, they'll review them. And I think puzzle games fall into that category. They feel frivolous. They feel like something you can pick up and put down. And Tetris, obviously, has an outsized dominance when it comes to these sorts of discussions, right? Tetris is a game that ends up being in the running for the greatest game of all time. And no one thinks to, like, oh, well, it doesn't, I think that's a weird thing where in some ways it flips when you go from like game of the year to greatest games of all time. I think that the kind of story driven kind of like those games come and go, right? Tetris is eternal. Tetris is a game that is as good as it was when it was first released. The technical challenges and the technical expectations around video games have certainly changed as hardware has become more powerful. But, you know, at the end of the day, Tetris is still largely Tetris, barring the big weird rule change that they had there to, you know, like, oh, you have to drop one of every type of piece in the, you know, before you can drop them again instead of pure randomness, and like the things they did around T-spins and whatever else. It's like the rogue like discussion in a weird way, but except Tetris, I guess you kind of have a pre and post when it comes to those rules being enforced. I'm not talking about Tetris this time, for as much as I've just spoken about Tetris, but I am talking about a puzzle game that really, you know, we could talk about a series of puzzle games here. I'm going to limit it to this game, but we'll, you know, next time we revisit other similar games, I probably won't spend as much time with them because we will probably do most of the heavy lifting here in discussing this 2010 Nintendo DS game. This game is incredible. And there is a sequel to it that I think is almost as good as, and there are obviously games that came before it that are fantabulous as well in, you know, in video game form. But this is the one I wanted to start with here because I've been playing it, and it was a welcome reminder of just how awesome this game is. So I am of course talking about Picross 3D for the old Nintendo DS. Okay, yes. So it is capturing the cursor there. I was worried about that. I've been playing this on my Steam Deck every single night, getting retro achievements in it, and this is a game that I have a cartridge somewhere that has every single thing, every single puzzle completed. I played every single bit of this that they would allow me to play. Picross, or nonograms, if you will, is it's a pretty simple puzzle concept that, you know, it gives you some numbers, it gives you some information about the layout of a shape or object, and you use those clues to kind of fill in the blanks, and as you fill those in, it will inform the rest of the puzzle, and so on and so forth. This game, developed by HAL, brings that to the third dimension. Now, this is a regular DS. This is not a 3DS, so you do not need to put on 3D glasses, or I don't know. I guess on a VR headset you could probably play 3DS games. Has anyone done that? So the concept here is relatively simple. We have this bunch of blocks here, and the numbers tell us information about the puzzle. So the zeros is where we start here, and we can chisel away all of the blocks with a 0 in this column, because that means there are 0 blocks in this section, in this row or column, that are part of our final shape. And so we will chisel them away. We'll rotate around here and do the same for here. These blocks are a little jittery. You know, DS emulation is good. It's great. But sometimes it's a little weird. Now we can use these little diamonds here, these little shapes here to kind of scale down the rows and columns that we're dealing with so we can kind of look more directly. So we know if this over here on this side, we know that there needs to be 3 in a row. That's what the 3 means. So this cannot be part of our puzzle. However, this 3 next to it has a circle around it. That means there are 2, and exactly 2 groups of colored blocks in here. So this one lone block down here could be a part of that. We're going to color in this one because we know that, you know, if there's 3 in a row here, any way you cut it, this one has to be a part of the final thing. And since this is a 2, we know the one next to it is part of our thing, and we can chisel away that one and that one. Let's move on to the next layer here. So we got some 4s here, so we know that these 3 in the middle have to be a part of it. For the 3, we know that that has to be part of it. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's our number up here. So we can chisel away those 2 down here. We know that we have 6 here. If we assume that this would be 1, then we have 4 colored. So that means there has to at least be 2 more here. And that means that once we have 5, this cannot be part of our puzzle. We can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know that has to be, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know that these 2 must be, and that's given us our 4 here, so we can chip away that one. You see, when we've satisfied the requirements here, the 4 grays out a little bit here, to let you know that you're done. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we know that this has to be part of it, and this cannot. Let's move to the next layer. We have a big 7 here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are part of it. That gives us our 4 for this one. We can chip away that. We know that the 2 is not going to be here. We know that that's going to be part of it. And you see, we've got our 1 here. It didn't gray out because there are other blocks in this kind of row that we can't see all of at the moment. We know that if that's a 4, then these 3 must all be part of it, and that gives us a ton of information to go on for these vertical parts. 4, 5, 6, chip, chip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bip, bip. And I think that's all we can do right there right now. Same type deal here. We know with the 3 here that has to be part of it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We know that these 4s have to all be part of it. Oops. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know that this needs to be part of it, and that one cannot be. Okay, anything else we can do here? Does not look. Oh, we have a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and so we know that that is part of it. Oh, our 6 here can be. That's 4, 5, 6. That one. Okay. I think that's all we can do here right now. So for a 3, we know that those have to be it. We know that if that's a 2 there, that these 2 can't be a part of it, and that this 1 is solved. That gives us 2 and 1. So if this is a 3 with a circle around it, we know that that one, and that one have to be part of the puzzle. That gives us our 1 here, so we can chip away at these. And we have our 2 filled out here. We know this, we know this. We know that that's a 3, so that's got to be it, and that can't be part of the puzzle. Easy, right? They have a really, really good tutorial in here. That if this all sounds like insanity, the game really is great about walking you through these concepts and giving you the tools you need to solve these puzzles. So I can, even though they're not part of our current focus, I can chip those away. Okay, so we know if we've got a 3 here with a circle, we know that this one cannot be part of it, because then it would be a 3 without a circle. If we know that we have our pieces here, we know that that can't be part of it. And so this must be our other piece, and so that piece goes away. Okay, let's go look at this. 1, 2, 3. I don't know that there's much else we can really do here. Okay, we got a 3, and there's only 3 blocks, so we know that that's part of it. We know that we got a 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to either one of those 2 is going to be 7. We got a 3, so that can't be part of it. And now we can go back in the other direction and look at these again. And so it really is, there are probably more efficient ways to go about this, right? But really you can kind of just go back and forth between the 2 views. And apply your information as you go and whittle away at it until you have finished the puzzle. That's basically how this works. Okay, we know that we got a 5 here, so that's got to be 5. So boom, boom. Under the timer there, you see some blocks. That's how many mistakes I can make before I am thrown out of the puzzle completely. But really, so the actual number of mistakes I can make is 0. Because if you want to get all 3 stars on a puzzle, and I do, then you cannot make a single mistake. And I must finish it within the green, I guess green? Let's call it green, part of the timer here. Which means I need to hustle up. This is not easy to play with a mouse. The touchscreen on the Steam Deck is a great way to play this. Or, I mean, dare I say, you could play this game on a Nintendo DS. I know, crazy. I know. But you could do it, I swear. I've seen people do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get a 6, we get a 6. We don't really know what's there. Or 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 7. That we don't really have a good. Okay, here's what we're missing. This one and this one. Boom, boom. And then that can go. And so that means that this has to be one. We don't have anything here to work with. No, no, no. 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 Okay, so it's all got to be here. All the talking I've been doing is making me think that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I'm not going to get the... Oh, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that can go. That's a part of it. That can go. That means that can go. That means that is part of it. That means that can go. Okay. That can go. That means this can go. That means that can go. And there we have it. This is a weird layout. Sorry, you're seeing the top and bottom screen on the right side of the screen as how a DS would actually lay it out. And then to, make it easier to work the touch screen, you can make that bigger on the other side. And so I'm using a mouse to actually click around. I mean, also, I have a controller in my offhand here that I'm using to push buttons to activate, break mode or mark mode, as the case may be. It's a very intuitive set of controls on the DS, because you're just using the stylus and you're hitting, I'm left-handed, so you're hitting 2 of the face buttons to choose those. By default, you're using like up and left on the D-pad with your left hand and then using your right hand to mark. We'll say, as a left-hander, games that are mostly touchscreen focused on the DS, they did a great job of usually including a left-handed mode. And so that's technically the end of level 5, but as you play through the levels, you'll earn stars that will unlock the silver and gold puzzles for each of the areas here. The sequel to this that came out on the 3DS is cool because it came out on the 3DS, and you can see it in 3D, which is kind of nice, though not purely necessary. I mean, this game is fine without that. But also, it has 2 colors. That is their big innovation. Is that you'll sometimes see different colored numbers. They'll let you know, like, oh, this one has orange this, and this one has blue this, and so you're kind of marking things in a different way for the different colors. And it's an interesting innovation, or it's an interesting addition to the formula. I don't know that it's not like a make or break. I don't think it replaces this game. It's a cool twist, and that's fun to do as well. And it's different, but it's not like dramatically different. So I'm not saying like, oh, they're both equally, they're fine. Okay, so we got 2 here. There could be 1 right below it. So we could have a 3-1 situation or a 2-2 situation, but we don't know yet. And we know that we have these. We know that that's not part of it. And we know that neither this one nor this one can be part of it. So we have a 3-1 situation here. We know that that can't be part of it. We know that this has to be part of it. And that these 2 have to be part of it. I think this jittering is because I'm running it at a higher than normal resolution. Like it's running at like 2 times the render resolution of the regular DS. This doesn't happen on the Steam Deck when I'm playing there. Okay, so we know that that's not part of it. That's not part of it. So we'll do that and we'll move on. But this is just a great, you know, there are so many puzzles in this thing that it's a really great, like, hey, you know, before bed, I'm going to just knock out a little bit, like 2 or 3 of these things, or maybe, you know, you get into it and do a whole level or something before bed. Okay, we got 3 and we got 1, so we know that this has to be part of it. And we know that this has to be part of it. Okay. That has to be part of it. We don't know about that one yet. We don't know about that one yet, so we'll move on. Okay, we don't have enough information there, so we'll go back to this angle. Okay. Okay, we got our 2 filled in there, so we can get to chiseling. Nothing there. And nothing there. Sometimes you're just looking for the one thing. There's like, you know, one thing that you can do. And so you're kind of going back and forth, like going like, what am I missing? What am I missing? Like there's something I know I can mark here, but I can't figure out what it is. And that is the situation I find myself in right now. Oh, and I've spun it around a bunch and I can't remember which angle I went down last time. So we'll go down this one. Okay. We don't have that. We don't know anything about that. Because that could be that one, or that could be that one. We don't really have a good... enough... oh, there it is. Okay, we know that that one, and that one, and that one are all not part of it. That gives us not much else to go on right here, but maybe... maybe we'll see something over here now. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, no, that's, I thought that was going to be something, but it was not. Geez, okay. All right, let's stare at this one more time. Let's go down these ones. We know that either that one or that one is marked, but not both. Same deal. That could be that one or it could be that one. We don't have enough to work with there. That one could be this one or it could be this one. There. That one. That means that's not part of it. And that means... okay. That this one is not part of it. Okay, let's look at these spots one more time here before we move. Oh, okay, so that's R2 and R2. That means that's not part of it. And that means that this is not part of it either, which means that this has to be, which means this can't be, and this can't be, which means this is part of it. And that means that that's not part of it. Oop, yeah, right? Oh, geez. Sometimes, you know, you get a little zealous and like you should really rotate the camera and look at this before you start just knocking things out. Okay, so now we know that that and that are part of it. We know that that and that cannot be, and now we know that this is part of it, meaning this is not. And we don't have enough to do those, so let's go back over here. Okay, we know that that one is, which means that one and that one is not, which means that that one is, which means that that one is not. Still nothing for that. Still nothing for those. Okay. Nope. Still don't have anything there. Okay, there we go. Boom, boom. We know that that is one, which means that that one and that one are not. Okay, we still don't have enough to go on for that block up there. We don't know one way or the other just yet. Same deal here. But we're just about there. We're just about done. Oh, is this? No? Okay, okay. This one is all alone down here. So that is part of it, which means that one is not, which means that one is not. There we go. Yay. It's a boxer. Hooray. He's gonna box. See? And they'll put the finished shapes into these collections. Like, well, this is the first one for this collection, but it's probably like some kind of sporting collection. So you'll, you know, I guess we can. How do they? Breakdancing. Cossack dance. Let's finish up level 5. This is probably, I'm going to say in terms of hour count, I bet this is my most played DS game. I can't think of, you know, like oh God, all right. Look. I'll accept no errors. This is kind of the other thing, weird thing about not playing it on real hardware. You know, it's like you're juggling the layout of what you remember it being on real hardware in your head. But the reality of it is I'm using a mouse and then I have a PS5 controller set on a desk that I'm using to, you know, select this stuff down here. And sometimes you hit the wrong button. Actually, what would happen more frequently is I would tap the wrong area, or you just mistap. You just mistap the screen like a dummy and go, oh, geez. I really screwed that up. Okay, so we know that that's got to be there, which means that none of these here can be part of our final shape. Okay, we got a 5, but this is 10 long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can't reliably knock any of those out because we don't know. But we can do that one, and we can do this one. Same deal. Oh, well, these 4. Oh, see, wrong. Okay, we're just gonna go with it. And I'll just have to redo this puzzle on my own time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that can't be part of it. That one can't be part. We got our 3s down here, so we're good there. Ugh, can't believe it. That's, you know, you try to talk and play. Bad things happen, man. That's why I sit in total silence in the dark when I play this game. Okay, that's. We can't really do too much more there. Okay, there could be those front three or the back three. We don't really know. And we don't have a good line on those twos either. So let's go this away. And take a look. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We know that that's one. And we know that these two have to be part of it, which means we got that one done. Which I think means that that has to be one. It does protect you from breaking marked blocks, which is, I mean, that is absolutely necessary. Is absolutely vital to the way you play this. Because you're gonna mistap occasionally. It's the DS was never the biggest screen. Okay, so what do we got here? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this could be 5 and this could be 2, but either way, we know that that has to be 1. And that means that one can't. And that one can't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that one goes. Oh, that cracked block mocking me. All right, we know that these ones are not coming with us. Okay. That goes. We don't know about the other one. Actually, we probably do. It's like, once I get a look at it here. Okay, if that one's going, that means that's part of it. Okay. That means that's our 3 there, which means that's not. And that means that all 3 of these are part of it, which means that's not. That cannot be part of it. Neither can that. We have our 3 down there, so we'll go boom, boom. This has to be part of it. That gives us our 2s. That has to be part of it, and that has to be part of it. And let's go back to doing this the safe and sane way, and not just willy-nilly wheeling around and breaking stuff. Okay. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that means all of these are part of it, which means that's not, and that's not. Have you figured out what the shape is yet? Write it in the no. Okay, that means that and that have to be part of it. Okay, that goes. What, I don't, a tadpole? A tadpole. Now, I don't think they actually give you stars for the silver and gold ones, so I don't think I need to do those ones flawlessly. And that's level 5. They throw in some different things with a time challenge will give you more time as you chip away at the blocks. The one chance challenge is just, you can't make a mistake or you lose automatically, which is, again, I mean, that's how I'm playing anyway, so whatever. And so they do try to vary it up a little bit, but like it doesn't, it doesn't really need it. It's just a good ass. It's just a good ass puzzle game. One of the best. I love this thing. It is a great, again, like right now, as an end of the night sort of game, as a before bed, I'm gonna knock out some puzzles. It's got me going to my Steam Deck every single day. It's actually, I mean, not that it's germane to it going into the Hall of Fame, but it's actually a great case for the RetroArch Cloud Sync stuff, where it will sync your saves to a WebDAV server, which is cool because I set up a WebDAV server on the machine I have in my garage. And so this one will upload, the Steam Deck and my Windows machine will share saves. And so I can kind of seamlessly go back and forth between the two, which is cool. I guess if you download RetroArch from Steam, it does that also, but the Steam version has a bunch of weird limitations around what you can do with it it's a hassle to, especially on the Steam Deck, it's a hassle to work around. So, I'm not doing that. But yeah, Picross 3D 2010, man, it's crazy to think that A, that's 15 years ago, and that B, there haven't been like 5 more of these. I would love to, and like Hal did this stuff. But there's been a lot of like regular ass Picross on the Switch, from I guess Jupiter, who did a lot of the other kind of 2D normal Picross games. And I'm just a Picross fan. But at the same time, I think the Picross 3D, like it really does level it up in a really cool way. It's very similar to the rule sets of regular Picross, but chiseling away at all the different angles and having to look at it from different sides and whittling it away, I think is I don't know why I was gonna say it's a rare treat in puzzle gaming. But I don't. It is. It really is. Because there's really only, the sequel to this. And I should check and see if there's anything that came out. Because like I said, there's a lot of Picross came out on the Switch in Japan, but it's all traditional, regular Picross. And so that's great. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. But Picross 3D is a game that I wish that they had made 5 more sequels to. That's the sort of thing that they could put out one of those every, I'm going to say 12 to 18 months. And I'd be like, word, more puzzles. Let's go. I would download more puzzles for a thing. I would download a new game, whatever, and play through another few hundred of those puzzles over the course of a year. It's not something you really want to marathon through. You can. But I love Picross 3D. I think it absolutely holds up. Like the DS emulation is really great in a lot of ways. And so I think there are a ton of great ways to play this game. I will say that it is at its best on real hardware. Just because of the form factor and the touch screen and the stylus and everything. But it's very playable on the touch screen of a Steam Deck and similar devices. And so if that's the route you choose to go, bootlegger, then hey, that's a fantastic way to play it as well. With a mouse and this stuff on a desktop, I honestly do think it's a little clunkier. It's a little harder to just deal with the kind of standard desktop controls. So I might err on the side of like finding a device with a touchscreen, whether it's your phone, which can run RetroArch now, even an iPhone can do that. Take that, TikTok. I guess iPhones can run TikTok again now as well anyway. But you know what I mean. Picross 3D. Hard to believe that it's like 15 years old. It'll be 15 years old on May 3rd because it came out on May 3rd, 2010. That's over a year after its Japanese release, according to this Wikipedia page. Hell of a game. You should absolutely still check this one out. I know one of the things, when we talk about the Hall of Fame, one of the things I always wonder is like, am I recommending these games to people? The answer isn't always yes, because I think some of these games hold up better than others, obviously. All right. There's a lot of games like that where it's like, I love Superman for the Atari 2600. Would I recommend people go and play it for the first time tomorrow? Sure. Actually, yes, but don't, but also don't. But Picross 3D is eternal. It's a puzzle game. The visuals are fine. The visuals hold up just fine. It's not something that would look remarkably better in 4K. Yeah. So we really wanted to do a new Picross for Switch 2, but we ran the budgets on it, and it was $180 million. We were going out and doing photorealistic blocks and all the photogrammetry. It just was not economically viable, and so we had to postpone our Picross project. We're hoping that NVIDIA, DLSS, we're thinking maybe we can get away with it, Picross 3D, in another 5 years or so. The AI will be able to handle what we need of it. No, this is just good old fashioned fun. As good now as it was then. Absolutely still worth your time if you're into this sort of puzzle game. It was, well received when it came out. That's what I remember anyway. As it was like the people who liked it. But it's kind of an esoteric thing, and Picross in general was hot for a while, the way that like Sudoku sort of was, kind of maybe not as much as Sudoku, but Picross kind of had its day there for a little bit, and yeah, I don't know. It kind of came and went, and I bet that there are plenty of people out here right now watching this that did not play Picross 3D or Picross 3D Round 2 for the 3DS, which, that's also a heck of a game. A little more complicated, but that one is only 10 years old or 9 years old, I guess, in the US. Man, and they haven't done anything since. Get Hal on the horn. What is Nintendo doing? That's got to be, when April 2nd rolls around and they start announcing Switch 2 games. I know everyone's all like, oh, it's a new Mario Kart, and how many cars are going to be on the track, and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to take this mouse and I'm going to put it on any surface because it'll work on any surface, and I'm going to control a mech with 2 mice or, whatever. Picross 3D Round 3. Dual mouse edition. I don't know how that will work. One will rotate the thing, one will move a pointer, maybe. Maybe that would be how you could do it. That'd be fancy. That'd be almost too fancy. It's too much. But yeah, hopefully, that'll be right there in the initial batch of announced Switch 2 games. We'll get back to what really matters, and that's Picross. Thanks everybody for watching. This is the Jeff Gerstmann Hall of Fame. My thoughts on the Hall of Fame, as I said at the top, I'm kind of thinking, I want to talk about more games, but I tend to get really hung up on this idea of putting a stamp on it as like, this is a Hall of Fame game. It's going in there right alongside Smash TV and right alongside Robotron, right alongside NFL Blitz and right alongside, and that, as you add more games to that list, that becomes a little more daunting, where there's just like, there's games I like. It's why last time I talked about Crazy Shootout and the sound effects in it and these very specific things that stand out as kind of a separate wing or a separate hall. But I wonder if there's like a runners up club or a hey, these games are good too, but and I want to talk about them, but I don't necessarily want to say, yes, this is of the, maybe I'm overthinking it, but maybe I need to come up with a couple of more designations for games, because there's a lot of other stuff that I would love to just kind of sit and play and talk about. But some of these games are not nearly as good, and never were. And so, Flicky for the Genesis, a game that sticks out in my memory, but also a game I thought was garbage, and a game that a friend and I just made fun of nonstop when we got our hands on it. probably worth talking about in some weird way, but not a game I would put in the Hall of Fame. We could talk about Stormlord or something. There's talk about Sword of Sodan. Maybe that's a different hall. That's a different wing entirely. Maybe we need to do the worst games of all time. I would love to know your thoughts on it, honestly. In terms of just like what other designations you think you might like to see, because that's kind of where my head is at. Is like, okay, I want to make sure that I'm doing more videos like this for you, but I can't guarantee that they all belong in the Hall of Fame. So the editorial process of, are these games good enough? Do these games hang on this list? Is really tripping me up more than I wish it was. But hey, if you don't take it seriously, who will, right? So we've got to make sure that this list remains of the utmost quality. And so ultimately that just means making more lists. I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves, and thanks. Have a good one.